Well, it turns out that Republican governors have more guts and spine than the Republican elected representatives in the House and the Senate. Uh, uh, the Democratic governors were not invited to the yearly governors' meeting dinner and at the White House and meeting with the president. Because, first of all, he made a point not inviting Governor Wes Moore, the only black governor in the country, although it's not clear to me if the others were singled or were uninvited or not invited at the same time. But that hit the headlines first. But more importantly, when the Republican governors found that their Democratic counterparts were not invited, they canceled the whole dinner and the entire meeting with Trump. It shows you what some spine can do. Meanwhile, a bridge that Canada has paid for and built from Canada into Detroit, as Trump is threatening not to allow to be opened. I'm not sure how he can do that because there's no federal money involved, there's no federal issue involved, but that's what he's threatened because he says Canada should give half the bridge to the United States. Why they should, he doesn't say, but it also should be noted that in his first administration, he approved it as an important project for this country. Those details don't bother him. Meanwhile, there are 6 names, and you'd have to look them up, that have come out in relation to the Epstein files of important business people. One is from the Middle East. I don't know what they all did. I'm not suggesting, nor does the mere mention of their names suggest that they did anything illegal. I'll come back to that in a moment. But when the Democrats were allowed a few hours to look at some of the documents electronically stored without redaction by the Department of Justice, Jamie Raskin typed in Trump's name, and it turns out his name appears over 1 million times in the Epstein files. In that regard, we should also note that as we have, that Lutnick had to eat crow and say, gee, he did visit Epstein at his island, but he failed to mention in his testimony, best I could find, that Epstein had bought a $50,000 table at a charity event in Lutnick's name. I consider, as I've said, that the failure to report on Epstein to the authorities by people who allegedly knew how disgusting he was to be almost as despicable as the conduct themselves, because they allow it to go on. They allow these young ladies to be attacked, raped, and now it turns out that there was a young lady, a child, I shouldn't say young lady, 9 years old, who was part of the victims of the Epstein escapade. Finally, Trump has pointed to a memo that, or a statement that one of the police people down in Florida gave to the FBI in 2019, that he remembered Trump saying in 2005 that he was glad they were investigating Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell because they were terrible people. There is no evidence of that in any other files, and you'd think if that would be true, there'd be a witness statement. Even if he wanted to keep his name confidential, somebody would have written down what he had said, what he had seen, when he had seen it, who else was there, and who else should be discussed, who else should be somebody that should be interviewed. This is very convenient that this comes up in the last year of the Trump presidency.